Only 1% of elite chosen ones hold the dual vibration of dark and light. We begin here not as tourists of the spiritual path, but as seekers, those who feel the pull of something deeper, something ancient, something few dare to name. There comes a moment in our journey when we realize that the world is not as it seems. The masks people wear, the light they chase, the darkness they fear, it's all part of a grand illusion. Most people live their entire lives trapped in a false dichotomy, chasing the light and shunning the dark. But what if I told you that the most powerful souls on this planet, the true elite of the spiritual realm, are not those who choose one or the other, but those who master both? You see, the universe itself is built on duality, night and day, birth and death, joy and sorrow, light and darkness. This polarity is not accidental, it is sacred. It is the law of existence. But here's the catch. Most people are only comfortable with one side. They cling to the light because it feels safe, pure, noble. They run from the dark because it terrifies them, challenges them, forces them to face what they've buried. But a chosen few, perhaps only 1%, possess the rare courage to hold both within them without collapsing into chaos or delusion. They are the ones who have learned to walk the razor's edge between shadow and illumination. They are not saints. They are not demons. They are something far more dangerous and holy. They are.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
I want you to think about this. Have you ever felt a part of yourself that was too wild, too chaotic, too strange to share with the world? That side you keep hidden even from yourself? That's where the power lives. It's not about indulging in darkness or becoming consumed by it. No, it's about integrating it, understanding that the shadow is not your enemy, it is your teacher. The ones who rise to the top spiritually are not those who suppress their darkness, but those who befriend it, transmute it, and wield it with wisdom. Let me tell you this. I've meditated in silence for days, isolated in temples where even the wind feels sacred. I've sat with monks who have stared into the abyss and come back with laughter in their eyes. And each time, I found the same truth echoing in their words. You must die before you die. You must let go of the false self that tries to only be light, only be good, only be acceptable, because that self is a lie. That self is a prison, and the path to truth is not gentle. It burns, it cleanses, it breaks. Dual vibration means you must welcome both the healer and the destroyer within you. You must learn how to be the calm in the storm and the storm itself. You must sit with your rage without letting it consume you. You must feel your sorrow without drowning in it. You must learn to stare into your own darkness and whisper, I see you, I honor you, teach me. The elite chosen ones are not chosen by external forces. They choose themselves. They are forged in fire. They are the ones who, when faced with the dark night of the soul, do not run, do not beg for escape, but instead they kneel in the ashes of their former self and say, let me remember who I really am. They are reborn not through light alone, but through the sacred union of light and shadow, because wholeness is not found in purity, it is found in integration. You might ask, but isn't darkness dangerous? Yes, it is, but so is electricity, so is fire, so is truth. The question is not whether it is dangerous, The question is, are you ready to be responsible for that power? Are you willing to do the work to hold both frequencies? Because the moment you begin to awaken the dual vibration, life will test you. You will be triggered. You will be humbled. You will meet parts of yourself you wish never existed, but if you stay, if you breathe, if you remain anchored in presence, you will discover a kind of strength that cannot be taught, only earned. And here's the paradox: the deeper you go into your own darkness, the more light you unlock. Because the shadow is just light that has been shamed, denied, rejected. Every time you integrate a shadow, you reclaim a piece of your soul. You become more real, more grounded, more magnetic. People may not understand you anymore. That's okay. You're not here to be understood. You're here to become what you were always meant to be. Let me ask you something. What if the very thing you've been running from is the key to your ascension? What if the wound you've hidden is the portal to your power? What if the chaos inside you is not a flaw, but a sign that something ancient and sacred is trying to wake up? Because the truth is, the elite chosen ones are not clean-cut. They are messy, raw. They have cried in the dark and danced in the fire. They have faced their worst thoughts and come back with gold. They do not pretend to be perfect. They embrace paradox. They are the light workers who have learned to wield shadow. They are the spiritual warriors who have kissed death and chosen life again and again. And Muntfioham Kitantame, this path is not for everyone, and that's okay. The world needs many roles, but if you've heard something in this message that vibrates in your bones, that stirs something ancient in your blood, then maybe, just maybe, you are one of us. Maybe you're not here to escape the world, but to transform it, not by preaching love and light alone, but by embodying the full spectrum of what it means to be human and divine. So I ask you now, not with judgment, but with sacred challenge. Are you willing to meet your darkness? Are you ready to stop pretending and start integrating? Because the door to true power is not in rising above your shadow, it's in descending into it, learning its language, and returning with the wisdom that only the brave ever carry. That is the path of the dual vibration. That is the forgotten way, and only the rarest souls, the elite 1%, ever find it. The fire that burns away the illusion, initiation into the shadow. To walk this path is to be initiated by fire, not the physical kind, but the spiritual blaze that consumes illusion, ego, and every lie you've ever told yourself. When we talk about dual vibration, most people fantasize about mastering both light and dark like it's an aesthetic or a badge of spiritual superiority. But the truth is far more intense, far more raw. The dual vibration is not trendy, it is terrifying. It forces you to descend into the depths of your own psyche where the monsters live. Not myths, not metaphors, but the very real fears, traumas, and suppressed desires that we've buried so deeply we've forgotten they were ever ours. And yet, this descent is the only way through. The only way to become whole. There's a reason so few step into this path. It's not because they're weak. It's because they've never been shown how. Society teaches you to numb, to distract, to run. It says be positive. It says think happy thoughts. But it never tells you what to do when the grief is so heavy it crushes your chest. It never tells you what to do when rage erupts like lava inside of you, threatening to consume everything. It never teaches you that these emotions are sacred too, that these shadows are part of your divine architecture, that there is no true light without first facing the dark. When I went into my own initiation, I thought I was ready. I had meditated, I had fasted, I had studied every ancient text. But nothing prepared me for the moment I sat in complete silence and my inner demons came forward, not as hallucinations, but as memories, feelings, buried truths. I saw every lie I'd ever told. Every time I had betrayed myself to be accepted, every time I had played small to avoid being seen, and it felt like dying. Because in a way, it was. The old version of me, the one built on performance, on pleasing, on pretending, was being incinerated. And all that was left was the raw, unfiltered truth. This is what initiation looks like. It is not glamorous. It is not beautiful. It's messy. It's ugly. It's you, curled on the floor, shaking, crying, lost. Until something ancient within you begins to awaken. A quiet voice, older than time, that says you are not broken, you are becoming. That voice is your soul, and it only speaks when all the noise has been burned away. The dual vibration is not a concept, it is a frequency, and to hold it you must become a vessel strong enough to contain contradiction. You must learn to sit in stillness while fire rages within you. You must be able to feel doubt and clarity at the same time, to carry grief and gratitude in the same breath. This is spiritual maturity, not bypassing, not spiritual ego, but grounded, embodied power. The kind that can heal a room just by walking into it. But this power is not given, it is earned. Earned through trials, through facing every part of yourself you were taught to hide. You can't fake it. The universe will test you again and again. You'll be shown people who reflect your wounds. You'll be put into situations that poke at your deepest fears, not to punish you, but to show you where you still fragment, where you still resist, where you still reject yourself. Every trigger is an invitation. Every breakdown is a portal. Will you enter? Will you stay? Or will you run back into the comfort of the familiar? And I know it's hard. I know sometimes you'll feel like giving up. But listen to me. There is gold in your darkness. There is power in your pain. You were never meant to transcend your humanity. You were meant to transfigure it, to alchemize it into wisdom, compassion, and strength. This is what the elite 1% understand. They don't run from their shadows, they dance with them. They don't silence their rage, they listen to it. And in doing so, they become unshakable, undeniable, whole. If you're still with me, it's because something in you already knows this truth. You've felt the pull, you've tasted the fire, and now you're ready to step into it fully, not to conquer your shadow, but to partner with it, to let it guide you to the parts of yourself you forgot were sacred. Because the shadow does not come to destroy you, it comes to initiate you. So let me ask you now, again, but deeper, what parts of you have you disowned? What emotions have you labeled as bad? What truths are you afraid to speak, even in the silence of your own mind? These are the gateways. These are the teachers. And when you finally bow to them, not in fear but in reverence, you will rise not as a fractured being, but as a sovereign soul. This is the fire, and it will burn away everything that is not real, becoming the bridge. living as a channel between worlds. Once the fire has scorched you clean and the illusion has crumbled into ash, something miraculous begins to happen, a kind of rebirth that doesn't scream or announce itself, but moves in silence. You begin to realize you are no longer just human and no longer just spirit. You have become the bridge. You are now a channel between worlds, both grounded in this physical reality and deeply tuned into the metaphysical currents that most people never even sense. This is the essence of the dual vibration, to walk between realms without losing yourself in either. And you hold both light and darkness within you in harmony. You become a rare frequency that the world desperately needs but rarely recognizes. You're not here to preach. You're not here to save. You're not even here to fix. You're here to be, to embody the full spectrum of what it means to be a divine being in human form. You become a mirror, a walking paradox, a living mystery. People will feel something shift in themselves just by being around you. They won't know why, but they'll sense something ancient in your presence, something that makes them question who they are and what they've been taught. But being the bridge isn't easy. It means you'll often feel alone, not fully belonging in either world. You'll see the illusions people live in, and you'll understand why they cling to them. You'll walk through crowds and feel the grief that no one speaks of. You'll sense the rage behind someone's smile, the fear behind someone's ambition. And sometimes you'll wish you could go back to sleep, back to the simplicity of not knowing, but you can't. Once your eyes are opened, there is no going back. You see too much, you feel too much, and yet this is your sacred role, to stay awake, to hold the line, to be a beacon for others who are still stumbling in the fog. The dual vibration gives you access to a kind of wisdom that isn't written in books or taught in schools. It's the wisdom of the soul, the knowing that comes from having touched the void and come back with something real. You'll begin to notice how your intuition sharpens, how your body becomes a tuning fork for truth. You'll hear what isn't being said. You'll feel the energy behind words. You'll know when to speak and when silence is the most powerful answer. You'll become less interested in being right and more devoted to being real. And here's the most beautiful part. You don't need to convince anyone of anything. Your presence becomes your message. Your life becomes your offering. You'll start to see that every ordinary moment is an opportunity to live as the bridge, to bring heaven into earth, to bring awareness into conflict, to bring love into fear. You'll learn that spiritual power isn't loud. It doesn't need to dominate. True power is subtle, unshakable, and rooted in presence. It's the kind of power that can walk into chaos and remain unmoved, not because it's indifferent, but because it knows the truth behind the chaos. So I ask you now, can you hold space for both joy and sorrow at the same time? Can you stand in love even when surrounded by fear? Can you be the bridge even when no one acknowledges it? Even when they misunderstand you, project onto you, or reject you? This is the test. This is the path. And this is what the 1% understand. They are not chasing external validation. They are living from an inner alignment that cannot be shaken. You are not here to fit into the world. You are here to reshape it by the way you walk through it. You are the bridge between shadow and light, between matter and spirit, between what is and what could be. And your very existence, when fully embodied, becomes a revolution. The final test, embodying the sacred rebel who walks alone. There comes a point in every true seeker's journey when the path narrows so much that even those who once walked beside you fade into the mist. This is not a punishment, it is the final test. To embody the dual vibration fully is to become a sacred rebel, one who no longer follows the rules of a world built on illusion, but lives in fierce alignment with a truth that most are too afraid to face. You are no longer just a bridge, you are a force, a walking contradiction, a soul that refuses to be boxed in by dogma, spiritual cliches, or the expectations of society. And now, you must learn to walk alone, not because you are better, but because you are different, because the vibration you carry cannot be diluted, because your path is not meant to be crowded, it is carved into the invisible fabric of reality by your choices, your courage, your willingness to be misunderstood. The sacred rebel is not the loudest in the room. They are often the most silent. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they've seen too much to waste words. They've tasted the truth and know that most people aren't ready for it, so they speak when it matters, and their words hit like thunder. This is the final frontier of the dual vibration, radical embodiment. It's no longer about healing or purging or seeking, it's about living as the integration. You become the storm and the stillness. You move through the world knowing that everything is both sacred and profane, divine and human, light and shadow. And you stop trying to separate them. You stop trying to fix yourself. You know there is nothing left to fix. Only more layers to reveal. Only deeper levels of authenticity to embody. But make no mistake, this level of embodiment will cost you. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you relationships that were built on your old self. It will cost you the illusion of belonging. People may say you've changed, and they're right. You've become real. You've shed the masks. You've chosen truth over approval, integrity over image. You are no longer trying to be liked. You are trying to be true, and that makes you dangerous in a world addicted to the fake. And yet the irony is that in this sacred solitude, you will find your greatest connection, not to crowds, but to the divine, not to noise, but to signal. You will begin to attract others who vibrate at the same frequency, not because you sought them, but because you became the frequency itself. The sacred rebel doesn't need a tribe. They become a lighthouse. And others who are lost at sea will find them not because they screamed the loudest, but because they stood the stillest. So, this is your final question, and perhaps the most important of all. Can you be the one who walks alone, knowing that you are not truly alone? Can you carry the weight of your own truth without needing anyone else to validate it? Can you trust yourself that deeply? Because if you can, if you say yes, then you are no longer becoming. You are. You are the 1%, not the elite of money or status, but of soul. The rare few who hold both heaven and hell in their being and have learned to love them both. You are the sacred rebel, the whisperer of paradox, the mirror of the unseen. You are light in shadow and shadow in light, and the world will never be the same because you dare to remember who you are. Now go, not to seek, but to be.